Alrighty, hi there again. So we're going to do another conversation slash reading lesson. Again, this is not really, cannot have a conversation really, but we're going to try, the best to practice a little bit and, you, just try to have a conversation through YouTube, if you may. All right, so as usual, we're going to open up a video from the Ingu website. Let me just open this for us here. And like I've mentioned before, you can have a look at the Ingu website. They actually offer one-on-one lessons for people, and they have all these articles about news that's going on around the world, and you can go in there. I mentioned this before, but just again quickly, they have different levels. So you'll see there at the bottom, it says advanced. We've got intermediate, different levels for different skills. And they explain some vocabulary. They have the article, questions, conversation questions. But let's get right into it. So we'll pick this one here. And let's see what we have. Tesla's first semi-trailer trucks expected in December. All right, this should be interesting, or for me at least, I find this kind of interesting. But let's get through the vocabulary first. So the first word, like I mentioned before, press pause afterwards, read it over, make sure you got the pronunciation down, make sure you understand the words. If you're not sure if these definitions are not clear, just type in Google production meaning and they will give you more examples. You can find more information on each word. But I think the words are not too difficult. So let's start with production. So that is the process of making a large amount of goods, materials, etc. An example sentence, the Volkswagen Beetle first went into production in 1938. Next one, emission, and that is the production and release of gases, especially those that are bad for the environment. Example, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that his country aims to reach net zero emissions by 2070. That'd be great. Next word, range. So that means the largest distance that something can reach, cover, etc. And in a sentence, these wireless headphones have a range of about 10 meters. Next one, shortage. And that is a state in which there is not enough of something. And an example, new visa rules have been introduced to address the shortage of skilled labor. Next word, generation. That means one stage or step in the development of a particular product or technology. And then our example, the latest generation of sports cars are faster and safer than ever. Okay, so let's jump right into the article then. So, like I mentioned previous videos, we're going to read. I'm going to read everything, but you should maybe hit pause in between and read over, make sure you got the pronunciation down. If you're not sure, if you read a word and it's like, get stuck, just rewind a little bit and listen again, read it over again. All right, so let's start. Tesla's first semi-trailer trucks expected in December. So car company Tesla has announced that its electric semi-trailer truck is finally in production, with PepsiCo to receive the first order of vehicles on December 1, 2022. The new truck is simply called Semi. In a statement, PepsiCo said the trucks will be used at its Frito-Lay snack factory in Modesto, California, and the Pepsi beverage factory in Sacramento. According to Reuters, the company reserved 100 trucks back in 2017 to help it reduce emissions and fuel costs. It's not known how many trucks PepsiCo will receive in December, but in July 2022, the company wrote on its website that it expected 15 semi-trucks by the end of the year. Other companies that have reserved large numbers of Tesla trucks include United Parcel Service and Walmart Canada. Tesla CEO Elon Musk confirmed on Twitter that production of the trucks had begun, adding that that they are super fun to drive. According to Tesla, the Semi can drive 800 kilometers with just one charge and go from 0 to 96 kilometers per hour in 20 seconds while fully loaded. Yeah. The truck is expected to cost $180,000, while a cheaper model with a range under 500 kilometers will be available at $150,000. According to CostL.com, an average gas-powered semi-trailer costs between $80,000 and $150,000, but Tesla says companies can expect to save up to $200,000 in fuel cost over 3 years, saving money in the long term. Tesla trucks were supposed to go into production in 2019, but parts shortages caused multiple delays. While the Semi is arriving soon, the world is still waiting for some of Tesla's other projects, including the Cybertruck electric pickup truck and the second generation Roadster supercar. All right, and there they have some pictures of the Semi. And make this bigger and have a look there. I actually watched a video about this when they launched it the other day. But let's get into that with the conversation questions. So first question they ask, what are your thoughts on the Tesla Semi? So again, I'm going to answer these. I'll read the question, I'll answer them. When finished, or before I answer, you can maybe hit pause, or after I answer, you can hit pause and you can answer it yourself. Again, try and speak out loud, even if you're sitting alone in a room, just answer it like I'm talking by myself. I'm alone in a room. Yeah, I'm talking by myself. Try and speak it by yourself. The only way you're going to practice it. All right. So what are your thoughts on the Tesla Semi? I think it's pretty amazing. Like I said, I watched the launch of the truck when they released it on YouTube. You can search on YouTube, and they talked about all the features and everything of the truck. It looks really impressive. I think it would be great if all trucking companies or all companies could move over to this form of transport. And I think the big objection used to be the range, but I think with the range that they can do now and with the battery, it seems like it can charge within 30 minutes or something. It can charge like 80% of the range or something. So it can really, it's very impressive how fast it can charge. So if you're driving 800 kilometers, you need to at least, eat something, or you need to take a rest. So if you go charge the thing, have something to eat, go to the bathroom, by that time you'd be ready to go again. So yeah, I think it's great. All right, number two, how often do you see Teslas where you live? Oh, well, I live in Thailand at the moment, so it's not that popular here. I think I have seen one or two, but not that popular here. I think it's still not, they don't have a lot of charging points for people, and it's not set up well. So yeah, I'd like to see more, but don't see that many here. Number three, if you had money to spare, would you invest in Tesla? I think it would probably be a good investment. I think that's where things are going in the future. And Tesla is the biggest company when it comes to electric cars and things like that. So, and the way that Elon Musk is innovating and growing and expanding, and he's doing things differently. He's not just taking the normal route. He's like out there. So I think it would be good. Yeah, but I don't have money to spare. All right, number four. Do you think all vehicles will be electric in the near future? Mm, I do think eventually we'll get there. Yeah. And what I do think it will get to is it'll get to the point where we won't have to drive anymore. So I think at a certain point, all cars will have self-driving, they'll have the AI systems that are so well developed that they can drive by themselves and we don't have to drive anymore and we just get in and go, which would be great. I think there would be way less accidents and, taking the human element out of it would be good, I think, until the Terminators take over. No, no, no. Yeah, no, I think it'll be good to get to that point. But you will probably get some people that are stuck, like, I want my V8 or my V12, you know. So who knows? Who knows what will happen in the future? All right, number 5. What do you imagine is the most difficult thing about being a truck driver? Oh, um, probably, if I have to think about it, probably staying focused on the road, because especially if you do it all the time and you are every day, all day on the road, you might get to a point where you like, I know what I'm doing, and you get to that point of being overconfident. And I mean, accidents happen in a split second. So if you become overconfident and you just have that little lapse of concentration, it can have serious repercussions or serious effects. So probably staying focused. Further discussion. Number 1 there. Do you drive? If so, what's the longest distance you've driven in a day? I do drive. I've had my license now for 22 years and I've driven quite long distances. Um, in a day, probably around 1,000. I used to drive. I've done the trip down from Johannesburg to Cape Town in South Africa. So that's about 1,200 kilometer trip. Yeah, something like that. All right. Number 2, do you know anyone who owns an electric car? Do they ever complain about it? I do not. I do not know anybody who has an electric car. I've heard of people talk about it and nobody complains about it. I've never heard people complain about it really. In the beginning, if you go back like 5 years or 10 years, I don't know how long they've been around, but people complained about the range and the time of charging and all of these things, but I don't really hear complaints about it. All right. Number 3, what kind of car would you buy if you had $150,000 to spare? 100 and, I would pay my house finished. What are you talking about? But if I had to spend it on a car, I would probably not go too crazy. What is $150,000 is in baht? It's like 4.5. Yo, you can buy a nice car. I would probably go for something quite straightforward, maybe like a um, Mercedes, yeah, some kind of Mercedes. Nothing too crazy, but still something very nice and luxurious. When I was younger, I always thought like, sports cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, all of these things. But as I'm getting older, it's like that's just gonna frustrate me because there's a speed limit on the roads, and even if you get on a highway, there's other cars around you, so you cannot drive like a maniac at crazy speed. So for me nowadays, I just want luxury, comfort, luxury. I want to be high so I can look over the cars in front of me. That's it. I don't, and most of these cars are quite fast as well, so I don't need anything faster than that. And comfort, luxury, quiet. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. All right, number 4. Who would you say are the best and worst drivers you know? Hmm. Best drivers. I'm a pretty good driver. I've touched wood, I've never been in an accident while I was driving. I was once in a fender bender where someone else was driving. But I'm always very aware of what's going on around me, even cars behind me. If I have to brake really hard. I'm always looking like other people seeing me, what's going on around me. So, and I used to I used to be a professional cyclist when I was younger, so I know how to go fast and how to race, even if it's a bicycle, but being surrounded by other things and, being in that. But I don't drive fast normally. I don't like it because as soon as I start driving fast, I get kind of aggressive and then road rage starts coming out. So I just take my time when I'm driving. I drive very relaxed and easy, take my time. Um, worst drivers. Worst drivers. There was somebody, who was that? There was somebody and they were terrible. Oh, yeah. Um, Agent that took us out. I don't know the person that well, but we got into their car and they drove us to a house that we were looking at when we bought a place. And she was so nervous when she was driving and kind of like rickety, you know. Oof, that was a scary drive. All right, so last one. Tell me what kind of car you drive, and I'll tell you what kind of person you are. Unknown. What do you make of this? Uh, I guess to an extent, yes. The car would probably tell the people a little bit about them, either financially or or about their personality. Because if you can't afford a car, you take what you get. So that might not tell you what kind of person you are, but except maybe you're a poor person. I don't know. But I don't, I'm driving a Mazda 2. I got a little old Mazda 2 and very happy with it. You know, yeah, it gets me from point A to B. So yeah, it's getting a bit old now. I should maybe look at getting another car, a newer model or something. I was looking at the MG, is it the MG5? I don't remember the model. I know what it looks like. It almost looks like a Mercedes. It's more of a bigger, longer car, but they're not that expensive and looks very nice, looks comfortable, luxury, got all the features I want. So yeah, maybe in the future. Hopefully not the too distant future, because yeah, the little old Mazda's getting old. All right, and again, that's it. That's it for this one. So we'll stop it over there. And yeah, like I say, just keep practicing, keep reading, keep trying to do things in English. I always tell people if you want to learn English on a native level, you have to use it, you have to use the language as a native. So, do everyday things in English. If you watch television, watch English programs. What if you like sports, w- you know, read what happened with your team over the weekend on an English website. Do everyday things in English and expose yourself to it every day in some way, in some kind of form. But yeah, just keep using it, keep practicing. All right, till next time, have fun and see you again. Bye bye.